Anyway, I got to show you this crazy North Korea piece that came out of South China Morning Post. Holy dude, they have actually developed a lot more than I thought.
A new subway station.
Except it's gross. What they did to the subway station in Pyongyang is disgusting, and it's a crime against humanity. I don't know why they did that, but everything else is incredibly impressive. Holy get a nuke. It is 100%. It's nuke time. It is nuke time, baby. I'm telling you right now, it is so obvious that no development can come in the third world. No development can come if you're in the periphery without developing nuclear sovereignty. The nuclear doctrine is real.
Resort. And a new downtown with so many skyscrapers, it's being called Pyongyang. North Korea is spending big despite international sanctions on the authoritarian country. Pyongyang has been the site of multiple redevelopment projects in recent years, changing portions of this once gritty landscape into a modern city. The latest sign of this building boom are these 80-story skyscrapers.
이 현재 제일 높은 살림집들로는 수도의 동쪽 관문에 자리 잡은 성화.
North Korea recently liberalized its internet access. Why do you think you got so many viewers today? Dude, the way things are going, oh my God, dude, it's nutty. This is nutty as hell, dude. Is money coming from trade with China and Russia because China helps, but not that much? Yes. Money's coming from Russia. Money's coming from China. Money's coming from cryptocurrency schemes that these guys engage in. And they are, I mean, they're cooking. 80-story skyscraper in Jeonwi Street, which is at the northern gateway of the capital.
The flats are part of a plan laid out in 2021 by North Korean leader Kim Jong-un to construct 50,000 new housing units in Pyongyang. The 5-year project promised to improve the living conditions of residents in Pyongyang.
Now normal workers are living in those skyscrapers. And in future, together with the changing appearance of the fatherland day by day, our people will lead more cultured and happier lives in newly built streets and houses.
North Korean state.
Bro, domestic repression aside, which is not inconsequential, I'm sorry, but if you cannot look at this in awe, in spite of everything that we have done to North Korea, in spite of the embargo, the blockade, the famine in the 90s, after the dissolution of the USSR, which unironically destroyed North Korea's lifeline, you got one country that, by way of war communism, siege communism, was able to develop, but in the absence of a nuke, turned into Cuba. You got another country that went and developed nuclear arms, developed the first layer of assurance by putting an artillery brigade directly aiming at South Korea. And then on top of that, went and made a nuke and then worked on the delivery systems. I'm sorry, this is not glazing or anything like that, but it is mind-boggling to me that a country so poor and so distraught, a country that withstood a genocide, could get to this level, dude. How is this? How does this not make you mad as an American citizen? How does this not piss you off? Where you look at this shit and you're like, if they can do it, why can't we?
Media announced in late 2025.
I'm sorry, my North Korea apology form is in the mail, okay? For years and years, I thought they were being insane for hyper-focusing on nuclear arms and working on ICBM delivery mechanisms. I was wrong. You live and you learn. I was wrong. My apologies to the Kim dynasty. My apologies to everybody involved. I fell for the libtard propaganda. I literally did. I was like, why are they focusing on this nuclear arms so much? Like, I understand nuclear sovereignty. I get it. But the last 2 decades of action to nations of the global south have 100% convinced me that the Hasanabe nuclear doctrine for sovereignty and nation building is 100% true. Nothing else to say here. You look at other countries that tried to do socialism by way of reform, Latin American countries where they democratically elected people into positions of power, even countries that actually had a successful communist revolution, a successful revolution where, they were able to build communism in their country through a vanguard style system, and then they didn't develop nuclear arms. Cuba is the greatest example of a country that has survived in spite of everything else, and yet look at the situation in Cuba versus look at the situation in the DPRK. It is insane that in spite of all the sanctions, the embargo, these motherfuckers are still putting up skyscrapers. In spite of the genocide, in spite of the famine, in spite of not even having a single moment where the Western superpowers ever dialed back on their embargo. Yeah, DPR Korea apology forum to Marshal Kim Jong-un. Reason for behavior, the media convinced me they were crazy and evil. I didn't know they have never recognized Israel. I don't know history or geopolitics. I refuse to accept America as imperialist. I believe Yeonmi Park. I will hereby respect North Korea, and I will not talk down to a truly anti-imperialist, anti-Zionist nation. Okay, I knew all of that other stuff, but that's funny. I'm apologizing to the true Korea. I am. It is so mind-boggling. How can you be another country in the periphery right now in the global south and look to this and not go, oh my God, what the were we doing? We really needed to get the nukes. We need to get the nukes out ASAP. Just, bro, it's just like, it literally shows you what nations have the capacity to do, devoid of like American intervention, by the way. It shows you that a better future is possible for all of us, okay? All around the world. It is literally Western capitalists that are working tirelessly to ensure that this does not happen. And until you develop sovereignty, nuclear sovereignty, you will never be able to achieve these results. There's also another story here as well. Aiden Simmerdone is correct. As long as America was the dominant power, this was impossible under sanctions. Not only is that no longer the case, but America has sanctioned so many countries that these countries are now trading with each other. Expect to see more of this. A better future is possible under the multipolar system that we're looking at. Now, that doesn't mean that like China is going to behave like USSR and start, delivering arms to other nations that are having like socialist revolutions or something like that. But this is directly a byproduct of multipolarity, where you have such a major superpower right there, right next to North Korea, that they can actually fund your initiatives. They can actually send you the materials that are necessary to build this kind of thing. China has created an economic alternative. This is an economic miracle, dude.
North Korean state media announced in late 2025 that the 5-year plan had reached its final stage, the construction of 10,000 new housing units in the city's Hwasong district. Below the streets is another sign of Pyongyang's redevelopment plans.
Were you basically saying small island nations can't be free because they don't have landmass to effectively hide nukes?
The city's underground metro first opened in 1972.
China was never looking to do that. Marx-Leninists have realized that they have to wait until the revolution comes to fruition. Once that happens, they can provide
Trains
aid.
imported from China. For decades, the metro stations had a distinctly Cold War-era vibe, including muted colors, wood-paneled train interiors.
You're disappointing right now. Of course, they have the capacity everywhere. Even Venezuela, this is literal propaganda maxing. The PRK is much worse. They're just maxing on illusion. Brother, I'm not saying life is sweet in Pyongyang or in any other part of the goddamn country. Do you not understand the point I'm making? Is it too difficult for you to comprehend? This is not supposed to be a country, okay? This is supposed to be a crater. What we did to the Democratic People's Republic of Korea was a genocide. And that was just the starting point. They overcame those odds with a lot of help from the USSR, okay? With some help from China, with some help from the USSR, they overcame those odds. But then, after the destruction of the USSR, they lost a lifeline. Same with Cuba and same with many of these other countries that are supposed to be aligned with the Soviets. What I'm talking about here is not like how awesome the DPRK is. I don't think it's awesome, okay? I'm sure, there are plenty of issues that we at least know of, right? What I'm talking about right now is the fact that nuclear arms imply sovereignty. When you have nukes, America can't with you. They can still with you economically and stuff, but they can't just like do the same level of destabilization that they engage in with other countries. They engage with other countries, okay? What makes me angry about this situation overall is that looking at North Korea in the 90s, when there was a massive famine, and the American government or the Western world didn't even let up one fucking bit with their embargo, didn't send in humanitarian aid, didn't help them at all, starved these people. They overcame that and now have straight up skyscrapers in the DPRK. If you can't comprehend how impressive that is, I don't know what to tell you. It is truly, truly a remarkable feat in spite of the fact that they have been under the worst sanctions of all time, bar none.
And station walls adorned with propaganda murals. Now several stations have undergone a facelift. At Yonggwang Station, long escalators descend to a revamped platform. Brighter colors and modern electronic displays present riders with a more modern station.
오늘 변천된 평양의 모습은
Yeah, this was a big L though. They fucked up the Pyongyang subway station. It used to be beautiful.
새로일도선 고리들뿐 아니라 우리 지하철도를 통해서도 체감할 수 있습니다. 지하철도 6사들은 수도 시민들의 교통상 편의를 보장하면서도 매 역들마다 주제별 특성에 맞게 건축과 장식, 조명을 비롯한 모든 것이 조형 예술화되었습니다.
This is like when Chuds got mad at Mark Milley because he read Mao. You're not commenting on like the morality of it. You're just describing objective reality. I know. Well, the reason why people will get mad at the objective reality is because it's cope. It's because deep down inside, we all feel that same shame, maybe that same anger, that same resentment, that like we are on a downward trajectory. And the countries that we so easily dominated without a second thought for decades are now able to develop in spite of us, in spite of our best efforts to make that development impossible. That's why people react so violently whenever someone brings this shit up or looks at this stuff.
Pyongyang's subway system consists of just 2 lines that stop at a total of 16 stations. The metro does not reach the city's newest suburbs, which are home to the newly built high-rises.
Shame on you. This is really nice compared to our stations. The fuck? No, the reason why it sucks is because the old station looked cooler. The old stations had, do they showcase it? Yeah, this is what the old stations used to look like. They had the mosaic of like realism artwork. Like this was the old station, dude. And then they modernized it apparently.
Of 16 stations. The metro does not reach the city's newest suburbs, which are home to the newly built high-rises. More than 200 kilometers north, a new beach resort hugs 5 kilometers of coastline in the city of Wonsan. The Wonsan Kalma Beach Resort was opened during the summer of 2025. State media reports said it can accommodate nearly 20,000 people, with more than 50 hotels and attractions like water parks and restaurants available for visitors. But while the beach resort was initially open to, it has since been closed to all foreign visitors. Tourism once brought in some $175
Also, this is awfully
million
sus.
in funds annually. But since the pandemic, few countries have been allowed to return, and most of those who were able to visit the reclusive country could only go to select locations on package tours. Chinese tourists once represented the largest contingent of foreign visitors, representing an estimated 90% of foreign visitors. But flights between the two countries remain limited. So how is the country affording these construction projects?
Cryptocurrency schemes.
North Korea's economy is heavily constrained by international sanctions over its nuclear and weapons programs. To generate much-needed funds, Pyongyang has sold some $9.8 billion in weapons to Russia for the war in Ukraine. However, studies show the compensation received from Moscow is significantly less than the weapons' actual worth. The autocratic nation has also reportedly used illicit activities, including cybercrime, to generate funds in excess of $2 billion in 2025 alone, according to crypto industry analysts.
Yeah, they do a lot of cryptocurrency schemes, actually. That's not even a joke. It is insane. I can't believe it, dude. I genuinely can't believe it. I can't believe it. Why would they need money? They have materials and labor. No, you need money for the materials. What are you talking about? How can you engage in trade? What are you talking about? That's the reason why they need money. So they can get the materials, so they can develop. No country is like fully self-sustaining. They don't have like, I don't think they have the domestic production capabilities. But yeah, this is 100% China and Russia, especially Russia. But like, once again, I need to explain something to you, chat. Look at this and then look at America. Classic misunderstanding about an economy on communism. Yeah, I saw someone like complaining that the USSR still was trying to generate profit through state-owned enterprise. They think communism, socialism means like no, like your output, like you can't generate additional value to spend it on other things. They don't need everything to be domestic because they have China as a neighbor. What the hell can America produce that China can't? Corn. Anyway, listen. I hope you guys understand what I'm saying here. Like, this isn't, I know all the dumb fucks are going to clip this entire segment and be like, oh, dude, he's like glazing North Korea. He just loves North Korea. He wants to live in North Korea. He just hates America. It's like, if you cannot comprehend how impressive of a feat it is that a country that has been under complete sanctions forever can still find the capacity to develop, I don't know what to tell you. It's yet another clear-cut example of nuclear sovereignty, because America would have blown their shit up a long-ass time ago. America would have blown their shit up a very long time ago if they did not have nukes.